Right, hello everybody, 𝗕𝗫𝗧𝗏 from FourFourTwo here, and welcome to the most requested video we have had in 2025. Nottingham bloody Forest, third in the Premier League right now and looking good value for it. To say their season is panning out unexpectedly would be an understatement, on a par with saying owner 𝗕𝗫𝗬𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 is hard to miss, because he's massive, he's imposing, he's impressive, he's terrifying, and so too now is his football team. In fact, so much so that they have got Chelsea, Aston Villa, Manchester City, Newcastle, all of them thanking the good Lord above there might be a fifth Champions League place this season. But how? How has 𝗕𝗫𝗬𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 done this? Because when you look at the underlying numbers, Nottingham Forest are not the third best team in the Premier League, and yet, when you watch them play in real life, they clearly are the third best team in the Premier League. So welcome then, my dear friends, to a video I desperately want to call but can't because it's YouTube. What the f*** is going on with Nottingham Forest? Right, so very broadly speaking, this has been Nottingham Forest this season. There's been a couple of little changes. Williams isn't always necessarily in at left back, but by and large, when available, this is the 11 that's getting picked. There's a couple of things we need to cover here, right? First of all is the shape, because it's not just a 4-2-3-1, it's actually a little bit cleverer than that. Then it's how it works out of possession, which then leads into how it works in possession, and then finally, the mystery of Chris Wood. So I'm going to start with a couple of stats just to show you why this team makes absolutely zero sense, right? Bottom of the entire Premier League this season for possession. No team has seen the ball less than Nottingham Forest. They are 15th on the total amount of XG. They are 13th on the total attempts on goal. They are rock bottom for the number of attempted and completed passes. These are the numbers, chums, of a team that is scrapping for its very life. They're comparable to Ipswich, to Southampton. They're exactly the same almost as Luton last season. But then you go to the one graph that actually matters here, the Premier League table, and it all checks out. Like 40 goals isn't loads, but it more than justifies their position in the European places, and 27 goals conceded absolutely justifies a position in the top four. So, hence why I wanted to call the video this, what the f***? So first up, why are they so hard to beat? Because this explains the lack of possession, right? Nottingham Forest are not interested in either A, the ball and passing it round, or B, trying to win it back in the opposition third. They care not one jot for your pathetic little pressing. They rank 20th, and that's last, remember, for the number of tackles won in the opposition third, second last for the number of tackles won in the middle third, but then second highest for the number of tackles won in their own third. They do their defending in the defending place. The thing is, a lot of teams defend really deep, don't they? Usually really bad teams that still end up conceding a lot of goals because they're surrendering a lot of territory and then never seem to score when they're up the other end. Certainly not teams that are third in the Premier League. And what's different about the way Forest do it is it tends to look a little bit like this. So what you've got here, and I'll just show you here, then show you it in actual games, right, is a mid-block, which means you're starting your defensive line more or less on the halfway line. But Forest don't do that and then squeeze it up and leave space in behind. Their defenders and their holding midfielders are still quite deep while they sort of not press, but look to block passing lanes with their forward four players. So the back four are quite compact, and Anderson and Yates are proper workhorses. Underrated technically, in my opinion, but they're mostly in there for their engine and their industry. They basically stop anything happening in front of the goal, but when the creative players find these pockets of spaces to get in, that's okay. These players will try and stop the passes getting into them, but if they get there, there's still not too much they can do. And this does mean that, yes, teams end up seeing a lot of the ball, which is why those possession stats are so low, and they're actually 13th, so low, quite bad, for the number of shots they allow to happen against them. But if you look at the average distance of said shots, they've got the third best. So teams see a lot of the ball and they get it around this area quite a lot, but they're often reduced to just hitting it wildly from anywhere. Like if you care about XG, then their XG against, so the combined value of all the chances they've conceded, is bettered only by Liverpool and Manchester City this season. So this clearly works really well. But the reason why this approach has got them into third in the league rather than just making them a hard-to-break-down mid-table side is because of the positioning of these 4 players here. Like, instinctively, you would think that the wide players would drop back, you get 2 blocks of 4, and then maybe Gibbs-White drops into the middle to make it even harder, and Wood just sort of floats around. But no, all 4 of them stay in that initial defensive line. And what that means is that when this unit of 6 eventually turns the ball over, either by forcing a pass that isn't really there or winning it back, because they are good at winning it back in that area, straight away there are 4 really inviting out balls to get them up the pitch. And that Forest to 7 Brighton 0 game might be the best example of a styles clash I have seen outside of a TNA World Championship match. Don't know if anybody's going to get that joke right. So these are Brighton's defenders, their centre-backs and their goalkeeper. This is how they passed it in that game. You will almost send yourself to sleep, no offence Brighton fans, looking at the amount of sideways passes there are between the 2 centre-backs, the goalkeeper going here, the goalkeeper going there. It's very obvious to see what they're doing. But Forest, who actually went to a back 3 in this game, seemingly just to spite this video I'm making, this is their goalkeeper and 3 centre-backs. So it's even more players than were there. There are some that are side to side, yes, but look at the sheer volume of these that go forward, either directly into dangerous areas where one of these players are, or just splitting through what would have been the Brighton press. They don't care about holding onto that ball. They want to get it deep with you committed up the pitch and then get it into these lads as quickly as they can. And in that game, time and time again, because of just how enslaved to this idea Brighton were of squeezing Forest in this area, they got in, they got out, they got through on goal. They got 7 goals, and even the chances they spurned, most of them came from doing this. Like, that could have been 9 or 10 that match, honestly. And I'll show you as well from that Brighton match, right? This is every single regain of possession Nottingham Forest made. You can see there's virtually nothing going on in the attacking third, like maybe a stray ball here and there or somebody going in for a 50-50, but they are perfectly happy to be patient and to wait and to stay disciplined and to defend in this area. I think they're second in the league for the total number of interceptions. So it's not even that they're aggressively going to win the ball back. They're forcing you into positions where you have no options and they can nip in with one of these 4 or just cut the ball out with Yates and Anderson. Like, it shouldn't work, this, because football now is all supposed to be about intensity and aggression and winning the ball and near it to the goal and doing this and doing that. But they've just thrown it all the way back to, let's have our defenders defend and then let's have our attackers attack. And nobody seems to know what to do about that. And speaking of which, this is the other quite clever part, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of still images, right, from goals Forest have scored. And I want you to tell me, I know you can't actually communicate through a screen, but just in your head, tell me what you think these goals all have in common, right? So first of all, you got this one from the Man United game, and also this one, and then this one from when they played Tottenham. This one is from the Brighton game. This is also from the Brighton game, and this one is from when they played Leicester. And I promise you, right, I could have given you like 100 examples exactly like this, but we haven't got all day, have we? So what do you think was the similarity between all of those goals? In every single one of them, the only players who are attacking for Nottingham Forest or are in attacking positions are their 4 attackers. There is no late box crashing run from the 2 midfielders. There is no overlapping runs from the fullback or anything like that. These all stay in position. They stay set. They are ready to defend at all times. And these 4 just get on with scoring the goals. And the reason that works is pretty much down to the personnel. Like Elanga, Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi, these are 3 about as perfect as you could imagine attacking players to play behind a big static object in Chris Wood, receive to feet, turn and run. Like, these are Hudson-Odoi, for example's take-on numbers and his possession numbers this season. Like, they are for a team that barely sees the ball, remember, these are extraordinary. Like, the total number of take-ons and carries are quite low because of the possession stat, but the successful take-ons, the progressive carries, the times they get it into the final third, the times they get it into the penalty area, like, these are top numbers across the Premier League. And that's because the 3 of them are really good at that. And also, one major benefit of having loads of proper defenders who are dead big men who like to get amongst it is they're second only behind set-piece FC Arsenal for the number of goals they've got from set pieces. And that is undeniably brilliant for a number of reasons, because first of all, it massively conserves energy. Forest don't really have any players who are expected to run the entire length of the pitch. Like, even the wide attackers, they don't really go that much further back than the halfway line, and the fullbacks, there's no real expectation on them. It's not part of the game plan to provide big, sweeping, overlapping runs. Like, they will on occasion when the situation avails itself, but it's not their instruction. They're not going to burn themselves out doing it. And when you look at the sheer amount of games that teams are playing at the minute, and all just the pulls and the tweaks to their creamy hammies that nobody seems to be thinking about, Forest have actually found a pretty clever way here to ensure that a core of small group of players does not get burnt out and is not having injury upon injury upon injury. Like, it's clever, this. But also, as well as their creamy hammies, I'm going to stop saying creamy hammies from now on, it also ensures they have good rest defence. Now, rest defence was a term that got weirdly popular last season. I think 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 once and everyone was like, what's he on about? It's basically just this sort of mindset of if you are not attacking, so you're one of the defenders or a holding midfielder, you actually are mentally waiting for your team to lose the ball. So you're constantly holding a position that'll make you hard to counter-attack or break against. Nobody's running out of the shape or getting caught the wrong side. So their rest defence, because these six don't really worry about the attack, is dead good. Right, so anyway, that is the story of Nottingham Forest. But the thing about stories of forests is that they're actually really stories of wood. Is that anything? I might cut that. 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 is a statistical apparition this season, a gift sent down from footballing heaven to smite and spite everybody who is more interested in expected goals than they are in just having a nice time. 33 years old, 17 goals in 24 games, and all from a statistical model that says he should only have 9. The man is currently overperforming the sport's most respected mathematical formula at a rate of almost 100%. And just to break this down for you, this makes him currently the greatest finisher in the entire Premier League. I guarantee I'm going to mess this stat up, right? But on goals minus XG, which is basically how you measure your performance relative to the alleged quality of your chances, right? He is currently at plus 0.31, right? Which in English means that about once every 3 games, he will get you a goal that simply does not exist statistically. And if that still doesn't make sense, right, think about it this way. If over the next 10 games, the numbers say that 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 should score 6 goals, right? The way he's playing now, he'll actually get 9. 9. And not 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗍𝒑 at plus 0.14, not Salah at plus 0.12, or Haaland at plus 0.03 are currently anywhere near that level of clinicity. Like, the average number in the Premier League is plus 0.02. Like, there's loads of strikers who have a negative number. They underperform this figure. And 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 is a million miles away in the positive numbers. He's having the season of his life. Actually, no, hang on, I wrote this down to explain it, right? If the average is plus 0.02, that means the average Premier League player gets you a goal out of nothing every 50 games. And this season, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 is getting you one out of nothing every 3 games. And there's no, like, secret part of this video where I'm like, oh, the reason why he's taking chances like this all of a sudden. It's just really good finishing. Like, he's trying to do the things that he's always trying to do, that every centre-forward's trying to do. They're just coming off for him at a rate the statistics say they probably shouldn't. So, good for him. And the men in white coats, both the ones that do the numbers and the ones that desperately want to cart me off and give me a nice, comfortable room, will tell you that over time, this should revert to the norm. Like, this won't stay like this forever. But bottom line, if it makes every single person with an NG postcode have to check when their passport expiry is, who cares? So, yeah, that's Nottingham Forest. Undoubtedly the most fun thing happening in the Premier League this season, and soon to just be terrorising a Champions League near you. And if you enjoyed this kind of thing, you can get me across all of my various socials at Adam Clery, Clery, the 442 socials there in the corner of the video, the latest issue of the magazine, the beautiful magazine that we publish, the best bit of football writing in the world, in my opinion. That's available from all good retailers and the crap ones as well. But more importantly, my friends, please subscribe to us here on 442 and let us know your thoughts about Nottingham Forest. Are you a Forest fan? Does this all make sense? Has it taken you by surprise? Do you think it's going to last? All thoughts, all feelings, all poetry or verse, the true songs of your heart, please in the comments below. I do really like reading all of them. But until next time, though, I am really sorry about that Chris Wood Forest joke, but not as sorry as I am that Jurien Timber went to Arsenal and not here. See, you come for the insights, you stay for the comedy. So, which means I'm going to go also. So, yeah, bye. Love you. Bye.